according to Wikipedia, fourth wife. You gotta be a character to be able to do something like that. Welcome to I Read This Book with Chris. This is Chris. This is the book that I read. Police Your Planet. By Lester Del Rey and Erik van Lhin. While discussing Police Your Planet, I got myself some French press coffee. So why did I pick this up? One, Lester Del Rey, he's a fun guy, and the cover is lots of fun. This is the description on the back. Bruce Gordon was an ex-fighter, ex-gambler, ex-cop, ex-reporter, and now he was an expatriate of Earth. Security shipped him to Mars with a knife, 100 credits, and a yellow card that meant no return. He was also, he told himself, an ex-do-gooder. From then on, he would take care of number one. But in Marsport, nothing was that simple. Here the vices of Earth seemed tame and insipid. When he bought a commission from the Marsport police force, he found that graft was not only a fine art, but the official Martian way of life. So he joined the system. Then he met Sheila, who was out for blood. His. A novel of courage and duty. An unsentimental story with an emotional impact that is unforgettable. I don't know if they, typed it out in that font. But that's a pretty exciting sounding, a little bit of Pulp Fiction. And then I went and I checked online, tried to figure out who this Erik van Lhin guy is. And there's a little bit of a story to that. Lester Del Rey, probably most famous for, he has an imprint, a publisher's imprint. Del Rey. Let's see. There we go. Del Rey. This was an imprint set up by him and his fourth wife, what he's most famous for. But he was a guy of many strange characters. He enjoyed writing in pseudonyms, in pen names. Lester Del Rey, which is the name that he most often went by, is actually also a pseudonym. His real name, according to Wikipedia, and this is a Wikipedia article that's definitely fun, is Leonard Knapp. Lester Del Rey was his primary pseudonym, and then he had the other pseudonyms of John Alvarez, Marion Henry, Philip James, Philip St. John, Charles Saddlefield, Erik van Lhin, and Kenneth Wright. So this, Police Your Planet, is a collaboration between Lester Del Rey and one of his own pen names. Okay, that's something. This is a 1975 printing, and you realize, okay, in 1956, an abridged version of this novel was published in 1956 by Erik van Lhin. So he wrote it, he came back to it, he liked it, wanted it to come out under his regular pen name, so he did a sort of collaboration. But that's not all. A somewhat shorter version of this novel was serialized in Science Fiction Adventures in 1953. A lot of old sci-fi was serialized in magazines. Once it was serialized and everything was written, it then got edited again in a slightly different version, sometimes usually longer, sometimes shorter, would then make it to paperback. So it seems like, looking at this, not knowing anything about Lester Del Rey or Erik van Lhin, it seems like, okay, that's what happened here. Except in 1953, Science Fiction Adventures was edited by Lester Del Rey under the pen name of Philip St. John. So, this guy, Leonard Knapp, edited a magazine, the Science Fiction Adventures, as Philip St. James. He wrote a book serialized under a different name of Erik van Lhin. Got it published, and then later thought, hey, that was actually pretty good, let's go and make this just a little bit better, and republished it as a collaboration between one of his pen names, Lester Del Rey, his previous pen name of Erik van Lhin, when it originally got published by a third pen name. So I picked this guy up because of the cover, plus the fact that he used 3 different pen names in order to get this book out here, which is you gotta be a character to be able to do something like that. So Police Your Planet. What is Police Your Planet about? So Bruce Gordon, uh, ex-fighter, ex-gambler, ex-cop, ex-reporter, now an expatriate of Earth, is sent to Mars. At this point, Earth and Mars and Mercury, those are the only ones that were stated for certain, are colonized by Earth. Humans live on. He first sees what a state Mars is in. There's a dome over Marsport, which is the main city, and outside the city are just individual houses that aren't pressurized. The houses are pressurized, but the outside Martian atmosphere is breathable. It's just not thick enough to be breathed, which is why they have a dome over Marsport, over the city, in order to keep everything nice and safe. But outside, everyone who is poor and out of their luck, it's the wrong side of the tracks, basically. Bruce Gordon was a reporter, and he dug up some dirt that apparently he wasn't supposed to. Got exiled to Mars. When he makes it to Mars, he's like, I'm done being good. And he uses his experience being a gambler on Earth. He knows how to, play a little dirty. He goes to a casino, makes a bunch of money, gets robbed, saves himself just enough money to buy himself onto the police force, because that's how you get a job on the police force, is by buying it. A civil war erupts between different police forces. He ends up going on one side then the other. There's a civil war. He ends up in the period of 3 weeks being on 3 different police forces, which are the actors in the civil war. It's absurd. It's a little hard to follow at some points who all the characters are who are making all the political stuff happen, all the Civil War stuff happen. The characters who you interact with and Bruce interacts with, that's pretty easy to follow along. Some people online say it's not exactly science fiction. It's basically just a hard-boiled detective. Some people say the fact that it's on Mars doesn't really impact the story much, and that may be true. There's a lot of fighting, a lot of blood, lots of people who get killed, and a lot of knife fighting, because if you use a gun inside the dome, you could damage the dome, and it's real bad. Everyone inside the dome seems to agree with that. It's just a fun little romp. If you're someone who knows anything about, I don't know a whole lot about the books, but about like film noir, I just sort of imagine, I think this would be fun if someone made this Police Your Planet into like a film noir thing. Except from what I can remember most about the few ones that I have seen, is that a lot of it was very small, a private eye, taking on 1 or 2 people. And there are some big scenes that happen here where, whole police squadrons fight against each other. But I still think this would be a fun concept to make a movie out of. There's a couple other bits of the book that are interesting. One is there's this security bit. Security apparently is something like the CIA. It hops in different bits, jumps itself into different wars, and is always successful. Apparently they always win, which is not something we know of the CIA right now. But back when this was written in the 50s, maybe it felt like the CIA was this unstoppable force, copying into other countries. Just a few men, and were able to make the difference to change the way a country was acting. And he was told, hey, you work for security now. You're being exiled here, and the only way anything happens is if you work for us. Another interesting thing about here is his relationship with Sheila. So after he originally makes a little bit of money and then gets robbed, Sheila is one of the people who jumps him, who feels bad for him. 10 people jump him, apparently, and she stays behind in order to tape up his suit, because he's outside the city dome at this point, and not having your suit be in good shape, you're just going to die of asphyxiation. So she helps tape up his suit, because they slash his suit to grab the money. He wakes up at the point where she's helping him, and he steals the money back, and this begins their relationship, where she wants to kill him because she was just trying to help him save his life after she robbed him, of course. And he just doesn't care about her at all. He's like, well, hey, you wanted to steal from me, you're going to do your job, do it all the way, don't stop halfway. And throughout the book, she tries to kill him. At one point, she steals something that the security agent gave him as he was dying, saying, "You're in head of security now," and she uses that to blackmail him. He, realizing he's blackmailed, then kidnaps her, and in order to make the whole thing seem legit, marries her, at which point they fall in love. By the end of the movie, he's being exiled. By the end of the book, movie, I want this to be a movie. He is exiled from Mars, and she follows along. And a lot of people seem to not like the fact that that she falls in love with this man who kidnaps her, and that she changes so much from being someone who's out on the streets to someone who is, she runs her own gang at one point, to being able to be kidnapped and then falling in love with her. And if this did happen, it would obviously not be the healthiest of relationships, at the very least at the start. But it does, I know people who have some disordered relationships, and it does feel as if it could have happened this way. If you are someone who is put into the situation where you have to be on the streets, and you are acting just in order to survive, I would not be surprised if you were to fall in love with someone who were acting in the way that Bruce acts, which is doing what needs to get done at some points, being ruthless enough to steal from the person who's trying to save your life, but then also joining the police force, trying to actually do the right thing, but also trying to get enough, like saying his motives are confused, and his motives are confused, but he's also like, I want to do the right thing, and then when I realize I can't do the right thing, I'm just going to do whatever I need to do in order to make myself some money, do stuff for number one. He's got two options. Either he's going to help himself, or he's going to do the right thing. And if he can do both, that's great. But generally, he tries to do the right thing, and then realizes that that's not how this system works, and he works inside the system to make himself a little bit of money. But he definitely is confused in his actions. Neither one of the people you follow, either Sheila or Bruce, are good people, but they try to do the right thing some of the time. I feel like it's this story, if taken and written by Dostoevsky or, some other good writer that people say is a good writer, this could very easily be turned into something that would be good literature, considering it's science fiction and hard-boiled detective all mixed into one. Anyway, it's a good book. Police Planet by Lester Del Rey. If you see other ones by Lester Del Rey, pick them up. Or if you see ones by any of his 38 pen names, pick those up too. They're not going to be great science fiction. I normally don't read good science fiction. I just read fun science fiction, and these are fun. Alrighty, thanks for watching.